Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. And there are so many topics that are going through my mind right now, and I know my last episode might have seemed a little odd or out there, but I don't know. Part of me just feels like with the LGBTQ plus community, it's like throughout history is as long as things benefited cis men, then it was okay to cross over to the feminine gender lines. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like it's kind of a power, threat, scare, horror type of thing. Even though it's like they keep saying, is for example, the trans community is such a threat and they're trying to deceive and do all this stuff. But then while I watch and look at history and facts and everything, the people that women need, like when we go out for a jog, we're not scared of the trans community. It's like, especially at night, that's not who we are nervous of. And then it's like tons of videos of like kids at malls and who's trying to pick them up, not the trans community. And it's like the documentaries that I've been watching over and over and over again, it was the cis men, police officer, people in the clergy or religious organizations that were like Republicans. And it's like, I'm not saying Democrats don't, but it's like it was really crazy how in two or three of the documentaries, it's like they emphasized like which side, like especially if they were MAGA or whatever. And I was just like, ooh, okay. But it's like they're trying to say that a group of people are who are supposed to be fearing, when maybe they're saying that so that maybe they could continue what they want to do. But that's just my opinion. And I try to give at least some examples and theories because, I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, especially with the Cleopatra days and some of like specific historic representation, relationships, marriages, and things, and sexuality was different. There in the clothing restrictions weren't like, especially what men wore. It's like it was different. But in today's age, they've put so many restrictions on what each gender can do and the obligations of what each gender can do. Because even with women, I feel like the patriarchy and men try to have so much power. Either a woman's not wearing enough makeup or too much makeup, or she needs to wear more clothing, but she needs to be attractive and like just feminine. And it's like she has to be youthful and young forever. But then you look at some of these men who want to marry these women, they look a hot mess, but then they're allowed to look a hot mess. It's like, I guess as long as they bring in enough money and things, okay, that's not the topic for the day, but it's just, especially when it comes to just going to the bathroom, something every human needs to do. And like part of me was just even thinking, parents who have kids with disabilities, if their disabled child is the opposite gender, and but their grade level is, thought wise is, something to the point where you don't want to leave them alone. It's like, do people have a problem when someone brings their child, like, because usually it's the mom that has to take her children into the ladies room, boy or girl, until the boy is old enough. But sometimes I wonder what happens when it's the father. And that, I feel like that's one reason why it's like men need to take more responsibility. And I know, hate though, the patriarchy, they're gonna hate that because they put that responsibility on women. And well, I'm kind of leading up to my topic conversation today, because I just know with dating, and trust me, it's like I think I've been heartbroken so many times, and men have told me how worthless I am, either because of my disability or because I'm not black enough, or too black, or too proper, or I'm too opinionated, or I have too many goals. And like, yet men hate when I have too many goals. They hate it, and I don't think of it as too many. I feel like I only have one life, so I want to get what I want done. And well, with my dating standards, I bring it up because that's I used to not have any of those standards. I used to just be like, okay, if he's a nice, considerate man, but no, no, that's not good enough. Especially with how hard I've worked to be like, as great as I want to be. I need somebody who is at least trying. I kept bumping into men who they were in prison and now they're out. You would think, okay, they're gonna, change their life around. No, no. I've talked to men who they were just like, yeah, I want to date you, but yeah, just get ready for me to get locked back up. What? You're gonna be faithful to me, right? Heck no. What? No. You're okay. So you're literally telling me that you want me to be your woman, but you're gonna go back to doing crime. And when you get locked up, you want me to be faithful to, even though, like, you're about to do something stupid. You're going to do something that's going to get you locked up, but you still want me to pay the consequences for your stupidity. No. And then there's a lot of men who they do stupid things with their money. It's like, some of them, they don't have the best of jobs, but it's like, after they get off work, they just spend it all. And then it's like, well, maybe it was because maybe it was the naiveness or the dumbness, but I don't know what. But I get excited about talking about like business ventures and ideas and investing, and because I want my money to work for me, and I want to be able to create a nest egg so that one day I can look towards an age of retirement. The person you guys just voted in. Yes, like, not all of us vote. Like, trust me, I didn't vote him in. But for those who voted him in, the Republicans that you voted in, the ones you voted back in, which I don't know why, but they are trying to increase the age of retirement. They don't want to lift the minimum wage because that means some of you guys might be able to retire. That means some of you guys might be able to afford certain benefits. And like, yet they can't have that. They don't want you, like, being able to stay fluid or stay maintained in the middle class, especially. It's like, so I don't like, and a lot of people didn't pay attention to 45 either while he was doing his little play date at McDonald's. One of the interviewers, I brought this up a couple times before, but sometimes I feel like if you're not going to listen to one of my episodes, you'll listen hopefully to another. And one of the reporters asked 45 if he was going to lift the minimum wage, raise it up. And he said, no, of course not. These people make plenty of money. They're happy with their money. They're pleased. That was his response. That was his response. So, if some of you guys who voted for him, if you say that, oh, he's going to raise this and do this, and he's for the working man, he's for the millionaire man. That's who he's for. And so, like with a lot of the guys that write me, troll me, put me down, saying that I'm a R word, that I'm stupid, that I'm the one dragging this country and everything like that. At least I was in support for the minimum wage to be lifted so that the people can be able to afford their eggs and groceries and a car. And because I remember there was one mini documentary that I was watching on YouTube, and the the guy was kind of talking about how people love sharing stories where there's someone who is just down and out, and we watch it out of entertainment, and it gains attraction because people love when all of a sudden there's a superhero or a hero to come and save the day. And there was this one guy who was walking, I believe, 4 miles every day to work. His car broke down. Sometimes he got a ride from a coworker. But part of me is just like, maybe we should be looking at how much he's getting paid. Maybe we need to start because they said he was doing this for years and he's been working at this company for years. So he's been working at so either his money management is terrible, his credit score needs work, or we need to look at how much he's making an hour. Something's not making sense. Something doesn't sound right. And I've noticed, like, with a lot of the guys that I've dated, they were terrible with money. And sometimes, like, especially like I was working sometimes 1, 2, 3 jobs at a time, a couple times four, especially when it came to promotional modeling. And then I was substitute teaching promotional modeling, and then doing like other side jobs and everything. I was hustling, and I was saving up money so I can get my books like illustrated and published, and I was writing my novels, and I was creating and like trying to create a list of ideas of things that I can work on so that I can create something of my own. And do you know how many men from certain parts of cities would say that I'm crazy? Especially as a woman, I'm not supposed to do that. And especially, okay, I drag black guys. I do because, and like there's a lot of great black men out there. There are. They just don't want anything to do with me. And usually, like, we don't, yeah, it's like even though we're both black, even though we both have education, that doesn't mean that we're a good match. And yeah, then there's some others who I've tried dating, and it's it's like, okay, I'm gonna drag the white guys too, because especially white men, when I accomplish something, don't tell me it's only because I'm black. Don't tell me it's only because I'm a woman. It's like especially if you dropped out of school, but you have the nerve to tell me You have the nerve to tell me? No, 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 no. Sorry, boo boo. You were just lazy and either unfocused, you didn't really want it in the first place, or you thought that since you are a white cis male or white male, whatever, that you are owed this anyway. Because sometimes I feel like that was Mr. No Heart's issue, because he dropped out of college and he just he was terrible with money. And like one thing that I learned while wanting to break up with him, because I wanted to break up with him for years, but I was too scared, because since I walk the way I do, a lot of you already know, like what my mother always said: as long as you walk like that, no one's ever going to want you, love you, or marry you. So I wanted to break up, but then I was scared that no one's ever going to want me. And you know what? Till this day, no one does. But I've had to learn to just love myself, appreciate myself, and look at other ways that I can create the family that I want. And so I'm going to adopt and foster once I get my businesses and things going, because that's that will make me happy. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to marry, was so I can have kids, adopt and foster. And it'll be harder for a single parent, because like, yeah, you have to do the tests and they ask a lot of questions, and for like one individual you don't have that backup person, so it might be a little harder. I'll keep it going, I'll keep it moving. And with Mr. No Heart, I'm gonna tell the blanket story I think next. But it was just crazy how he hated when I finished my novel. Well, the rough draft, the very, very rough draft of it. He wouldn't read a word. He refused. He told me, I'll only read it if you actually publish it. And his older daughter read a couple chapters and she was saying how good it was. And it's like, I mean, I'm not saying that she's better than him for reading it, but part of me was just like, at least she cared enough to at least read something that's a passion of mine. And she read my poetry. So that's one reason why it's like I didn't care that she didn't read the whole novel, because it's a novel and she's in school, she's in high school, she's a teenager. Yeah, I'm not going to be expecting that of her. But with my poetry, she read all of it. And she found out some things, and especially about her, because yeah, there were some poems where she was like, who is this about? And I kind of looked at her and I gave her a certain look, and she was just like, oh, that's my, and I was like, so yeah. But I don't know, it's just crazy, because some men act like, especially the white men. Okay, I'm no, I'm dragging you guys a little bit. You guys automatically think that you're supposed to be the ones on top, always getting the jobs. And then you guys get so scared of DEI when, do you know how many jobs I've been denied? How many illegal questions I've been asked? And there's been some of the articles posted on Facebook about Walmart and other stores dropping DEI, and the MAGAs are celebrating and they're so happy and they're just saying, yay, no more racism. How stupid are they? The reason why they put in DEI, the reason why they put certain laws into place was because Jobs on Purpose were not hiring people of color, people with disabilities, and women. It's like, I'm going to tell you guys stories about job interviews down the line, and some people are going to say I'm lying. And now that I know people are recording, getting fired in interviews, I wish I had that technology those years ago. But I still remember the terrible job interview where I think it was for a marketing and assistant position, right, almost right across the street from my university. Yeah, OU. Yeah. Anyway, but it was a it was me, myself against two other people. And I remember the guy, like the door was open during the interview. But then the guy got up and I thought he was just going to, walk me out, or he mentioned he was going to give me a tour of the building. And I mean, I'll tell the whole story later, but let's just say he closed the door. Let's just say he closed the door. And then, ironically enough, right across the street from that, I worked at a phone, like, or one of those, um, what do you call it when the customer service telephone for, it's like this company or whatever. And after my training, as like I was training with this one guy, and he was horrific, because he kept saying like, if you don't go out with me, if you don't go out with me, and there were like one or two times we kept getting callers that were, let's just say, having some adult fun through the phone while they were calling. And I was very uncomfortable and everything like that. But I remember when I was on my own, I kept getting those phone calls. And I kept at like I was just like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't like this. And the guy, like because I mentioned this to the guy that was training me, and he told me, well, he was like, well, go out to dinner with me and I'll make sure you get better calls. And I'm just like, what? And I denied him because I had no interest in him whatsoever. His personality was, like I said, horrific, horrible, terrible. And that's it's like some men wonder why women choose the bear over the man, when the man on purpose will put like he will leave you in danger when you feel uncomfortable, and he takes that as power. Because especially when I told him that I would never, I had no interest in him, I started getting more of those calls. There was 2 days in a row I got 4, 5, or 6 of those type of calls in the same day, to the point where I didn't want to answer the phone anymore. I didn't really like, and my numbers were fall like because you have like the score, and they post your scores every week, and so they say they do that so everyone can see, so that that'll make sure that you stay focused and on your job, and if you get under a certain mark after 2 or 3 weeks you're fired or whatever. I did not care. It's like, and there was one point where I'm like, you know what, they're they're gonna just keep giving me these calls. I don't know why I keep getting these calls, but I played fire with fire. It's like with one of the guys, I'm like, okay, you want to start? Let's start. And it's like I forgot all of the stuff I said, but that one call was the one that was secret shopped. And yeah, it was good enough for me to get fired. It was good enough for me. Like, so part of me was just like, huh, I'm in the wrong field. So yeah. And it's like I've actually been like, people keep saying that they love my voice. And while doing promotional modeling, I've gotten several business cards from those phone operators, and I never took it. I never did it, but it's like especially after working that like phone job or whatever, and then I got into promotional modeling and I kept getting the cards and kept getting told how beautiful my voice was. I was just like, huh, all right. Maybe that's why I kept getting those phone calls. I don't know. I will never know. But I just know that company did not care. They didn't have my back, because I talked to the trainer, and I talked to the main trainer that, like, with the recruiting, she gives you this whole class. I walked up to her and she was just like, "Oh, well, you know what to do." And I'm like, "But it's happening over and over." Like, I was just like, "Can I just get less of them?" Oh, well, it's like, well, if you're trained on how to do it, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. And it was just like, do you know how uncomfortable that is? And it's like, you worked this for years, you're training now, but now you're just like brushing it off, even though I'm telling you I don't feel okay with that. And so, yeah, the guy didn't realize when he called me to his office and he was like, "Do I need to play this call for you?" I kind of smiled. I'm like, nah, no, I'm good. And because, like, and the guy that escorted me into the office, whatever, he was just kind of looking at me like, which phone call is this? What happened? I was fed up. I was fed up. The men did not have my back. They did not care. They didn't care how uncomfortable that was for me. And they kept, like, because there was like the times that I did try to tell, like, or on the phone when I did do what I was told and stuff. How come like an hour later I would get them again? And I'm just like, whatever, like, why don't you need to either ban this guy, kick him out of your credit union, your bank, like, you need to do something, because he keeps doing this, and for some reason I keep getting these guys, like, no, it's uncomfortable. And it's like with some of the guys that I've dated, Like, they didn't care if they put me in harm's way. It's like most of them, I think they enjoy the fact that I never asked them for, like, well, with Mr. No Heart, there was one time when I asked him for $20 for gas. The one time. And like most of you already know, at this point in time, with all the gas money I loaned, and that's the funny thing, he blames me for our breakup because I broke up with him, but he blames me. Or he tried to gaslight me and try to put it on me. But I asked for gas money one time. And if I did the math for all of the times, it would be at least $1,300-$1,400 that. And then with the business he begged me to start, the equipment, he didn't have a dime. His credit score was so low. I've told parts of the story. I haven't told the full story of that, but I have so many examples. But these men want the power, they want the patriarchy, but they're lazy. They think that they think they're automatically owed, and they think women are not able. But then how come like a lot more of us are going to college and a lot more of us are getting the positions that they want but they did not work for? They were lazy, so they didn't get it. And a lot of them say I'm crazy because I'm working on my ideas. I'm working on my goals and dreams. While I was working on my master's, a lot of men, especially black men, told me I better not finish. I better drop out because no man's ever going to want me. Well, a man can leave me because, and that's the funny thing with these traditional women who want to, the traditional house or whatever. I'll close out with this because I'm going to do a part two. They're at risk of losing their man too because a lot of these men, they want the young women. And I keep seeing on YouTube and documentaries and things how the woman stayed home and made the bread and did all of, and I mean the kitchen, the food bread, not the money bread. But then one day he came home and he kicked her out. He told her she was of no use anymore because he found a younger version. And a lot of these men hate that I have the education and that I know how to manage my money, because if they try to kick me out, I'm good. I'm good. I'm safe. But thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.